What up, everybody? Welcome to the Coach Dunn Show. I'm your host, Coach Dunn. I ain't gonna hold you too long, but something just caught my attention. It been bothering me for some months now, just because y'all were talking. But today we gonna watch and react to Coach Nick Saban testifying before Senate on what he called protecting college sports. But we gonna discuss and watch and discuss, and it's an 11-minute video. So the premise of the whole thing is he trying to get a hold onto NIL and stop these boys from getting all this money because it's gonna change this, it's gonna change that. So we're gonna check it out and watch this video. Uh, Get this Nick Saban yapping. We're gonna watch it.
Ranking Member Cantwell and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. And I really want everybody here to know that I'm not here to represent a conference or a team, but to preserve college athletics as a whole. I think we all have to ask ourselves a question: what is our guiding principles for the future of college athletics, including Olympic, women, and non-revenue sports? I've spent my adult life in college athletics.
First of all, you say you not representing the conference and all this. Stop it, man. You ain't out here just for the better good of these kids. You not. You ain't on behalf of what? Who are you representing? Yourself? If you're not representing the conference, you're not representing the NCAA. And what you out here for? You ain't out here representing kids, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So stop the cap, man.
I believe in it. I've seen young people come in the program, need structure, need discipline, need coaching, need academic support, need accountability. And I've seen them leave with a degree, a career, a family, and a better chance to be successful in life. I think the current.
I don't want to make it seem like Nick Saban is not like a good person because I don't know him, but all his former players and all they always have glowing things to talk about. So I'm sure he's a good man, a great coach. Good recruiter and all those things. I think he's a better recruiter than he is a coach, but just some things just not the business.
System that we have in college athletics right now makes it more and more difficult to do these things. We've moved away from development to focusing on money and not life skills. So to put this in perspective, if you had the biggest, baddest Ferrari that you could ever have and it was going 150 miles an hour toward the Grand Canyon, somebody needs to tap the brakes. And I think that's what we all need to do here. And I'm going to veer a little away from my testimony and just give you some examples of, things that I think people may not know that are happening in college football that are huge problems. First of all, I think student athletes should profit from name, image, and likeness as long as those things are authentic endorsements. They create branding for themselves. They sign with the company. They do promotions. I think these things are all healthy for their education as well as their quality of life. I think name, image, and likeness has become pay for play. I said 5 or 6 years ago.
Before there was naming, image, and likeness, before they put a NIL name on it, it's been pay for play. You can go back decades and decades, 10, 20 years, 30 years, all the way back to SMU with Eric Dickerson and the other running back, and when they got the death penalty for not the death penalty, but college death penalty where they couldn't go to the playoff. That was 40 years ago. So it's been pay for play. You know what I'm saying? Nick Saban was doing pay for play. You ain't getting five-star running backs or five-star receivers to come to your program if you're not paying them to come. You can't have a running back of 4 or 5 star running backs, and 2 of them know they're not gonna get no burn to 2 or 3 years later, and they can go anywhere in the country because you paying them. I don't care. Nobody can convince me otherwise. So all this NIL has turned into not name, image, and likeness. It's turned into pay for play. Yes, it's name, image, and likeness. Y'all use my name. Y'all use my image. Y'all use the license of my persona, my character, my athleticism to make money, to make billions of dollars. And so I want 2 million that now it's pay for play. Nick Saban, he got to stop with that, man. He got to. But let's continue.
When a school that I'm not going to mention, who didn't do anything wrong, had what is
He's
called a
snitching.
collective.
He's snitching.
A
now.
collective is an organization that raises money, basically from alumni, to be able to pay players and disguise it as marketing opportunities.
Same money that they
When a
commit to
school
pay-
did that, the
pay
first
him
school that did it,
$10
I
million
said,
a
is this
year.
what we want college football to become? And I got really criticized for that. But it has become that. And it's become pay for play. And we've also extended the opportunities now to funnel money from operations, which come to the universities as marketing opportunities from the university standpoint, to funnel that money out of operations into paying players. So now, if you take that $20 million or whatever it is, you could fund 5 or 6 Olympic and women's sports. So these are things that I think need to be addressed, and I think this bill takes a big step forward.
See, my problem is Nick Saban was one of the highest paid. I think Nick Saban was one of the highest paid coaches. He probably was making close to $20 million, at least $10 million a year before he retired. Like, why can he be able to make $10 million a year, and in all college and funds and all that doesn't have to be regulated? But when these kids making this money, they don't have to be regulated. I mean, they have to be regulated. Why? I don't understand that. You shouldn't be able to tell somebody that you should have a cap of your money, which is a salary cap, like all professional leagues have. College is a professional league. It's not amateur. It's only amateur to the people that's not making money. The coaches, all the staff, the people that do the video game, the TV network, all of them making billions of dollars off these kids that none of us will be seeing. None of us came to watch Alabama to watch Nick Saban. We came to watch Julio Jones. We came to watch Devontae Smith. We came to watch all these other guys play. We didn't come to watch Nick Saban. That's why he got those kids there. And that because he knows they're going to bring eye. Ain't nobody watching Nick Saban running, walking up and down the field, me mugging every damn thing. Come on, man. You can't want to regulate this but not regulate your pay. You never regulated your pay. Your pay is endless. You can get $100 million a year, but the kids can't make one.
Doing that. So I think this bill also creates a competitive balance. You know, the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, they all have some kind of rules that govern how they compete. It creates parity. It creates, something that gives you the opportunity to have a framework to build a fair play system in, which I think is really, really important, and I think this bill does that. Right now in college football, we have no rules. We have state laws. We have different in every state. We have litigation. The NCAA cannot enforce their own rules because every time they try to enforce the rule, there's a lawsuit. So
the NCAA can't force their own rules now because they've been jerking these kids around for 50, 60 years. They've been stealing money from these kids for 60 years. How the hell they going all of a sudden now they need to enforce a rule? They can't enforce a rule. It's a bad thing when they've been jerking these kids around, allowing these coaches to go from team to team. But if a kid goes to another team, he got to sit out a year, waste a year of eligibility because he want to switch teams. Nick Saban can go from team to team to team to NFL back to college and all this within 5-6 years. Man, he can be on 3 different teams in 4 years, and the kid got to wait a year to get on the team. The kids can't the other coach can't buy the kids food. Boozer can't feed the kid. The kid be out here starving. They ain't got no food, no money. But for 60 years, that was okay. But all of a sudden, these black kids getting this money. I don't like to make it about race, but it is what it is. They getting this money. And they got the diamond chain. They got the Rolls Royces coming put them to their college. And they don't like to see it. And also, Nick Saban knew he could. Well, I'll wait till the end of that. I'll watch the rest of it.
I mean, an example would be Ole Miss's quarterback. They say he can't play next year. He's playing next year because of litigation. So, but this is just the way it is. It's become an arm race. Who spends the most has got the best chance to win. But I think it's a race to the bottom because if you
because you were spending the most when it wasn't on the table, you spending the most under the table, and you was winning the most, and you didn't have no problem with it.
Spend to win, you lose your fan base, and you don't have any revenue. So how do you manage the other sports? So the one thing that I think this bill does, sort of enhance the enforcement of the House settlement, which to me is a start, which sort of creates a revenue share, kind of a cap, and also controls some of the name, image, and likeness things that this bill tries to control. So transferring. I think transferring is a good thing. I don't think a player should be trapped in a bad situation. But I also think multiple transfers have a negative effect. I think there can be legitimate circumstances where you can transfer more than once. I think if you graduate, you should be able to transfer again because you might have a fifth year where you can have more success someplace else.
So you was able to go from Michigan State to LSU to the Miami Dolphins and the Alabama. That's 4 different spots. You was able to do all that with no problem. But a kid shouldn't be able to go from Alabama to LSU to Texas to why? Like y'all don't own the kids, man. It's not so you can't want to make it. You can't want to make it a contract thing. Put the kids in a contract to stay here, but also they can't make as much money as they want to. Can't have it both ways.
But unlimited transfers creates free agency. Free agency with a collective, now you're talking about bidding war for players. And then you've got agents out there that are not certified, that are enhancing players or encouraging players to get in the portal, I can get you more money. So now we have this unbelievable number of players that get in a portal every year, and we have nothing to control agents. We have nothing to control tampering. Clemson had a player that was on campus for a whole week, and they come and got him off the campus and took him someplace else. So these kinds of things going on in college football are absolutely not what any of us signed up for relative to the educational institutions that, we've all tried to represent. So what's the cause and effect of transferring? I think every time you transfer, you have less and less of an opportunity to graduate. This hits home with me because I actually coached 50 years ago when people didn't graduate, and we saw 30 for 30s on what happened to their life. And we worked hard for a long time to get.
I ain't looked this up, but I'm pretty sure all those D1, those 5-star players he had, I want to see how many graduated, how many went back to school. They all left. Most of them left after 3 years. So I want to see how many actually went back and graduated and all that, because they didn't graduate while they was playing football there. So I would like to see that. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he gets some stats on that, because I don't honestly know, but I just feel like they wasn't graduating.
Graduation rates where they are, and I'm proud of the fact that we had 668 or whatever the number is, graduates at Alabama over 17 years. So we need to get back to, that kind of atmosphere in college athletics. But if you transfer all the time, So first of all, we had players transfer that were in business. So they transferred, they couldn't get in business school at the school they transferred to, so they got in general studies so they could be eligible. So they minimized the importance of their degree because they transferred. And then also, could they graduate? You got guys transferring 3 or 4 years. We have guys playing 7 or 8 years of college football, which is ridiculous. We had 50 players in the draft this year that were over 25 years old, competing against 17 and 18-year-olds, only because we have no structure in terms of what is eligibility. So the
College.
eligibility rule of
Now I do agree with that. Like no, no, 5 years should be. They should cap that. Like it should be 5 years because some kids come in, they get a rest year, so then they got 4 years eligibility. That makes sense. Some kids come in, they play 2 years, then they get hurt all season, and they get a injury rest year. Like I understand it was a lot of these kids are like COVID kids. They went in college COVID, so they got 2 extra years, all that blah blah. But they should put a cap on that. Like, don't put a cap on the money. Put a cap on the years you can be in college. Like, like you shouldn't be in college 7, 8 years. Like Miami quarterback Carson Beck, he was in the college when I was, and I'm 43 years. I was 43 years old. So you got to put a cap on that. But I agree with him on that point.
5 years is a really good thing, I think. I think we should protect prep schools. If somebody wants to improve their academic circumstance, their clock shouldn't start, and they should still have 5 years after that. And I think defining who is a pro. I know a guy came from the G League, that's a pro. There's also guys coming from Europe that are pros that are not under the same rules and regulations. I think all those things need to be controlled. So the collective, what if we continue to invest?
I also agree with that. You shouldn't be able to play pro overseas or go to like a semi junior pro league like the G League, and you play 5 years in the G League, and then since you never made it to the on the NBA roster, you can go back to college and finish your last 2 years or whatever it was you had left for eligibility. You shouldn't be able to play against pros and come back and play against kids. So I also agree with that.
More and more in football and basketball. Let me give you the history. My first year we had collective at Alabama, 2.7 million. Next year, 7 million. Next year, 10 million. I retired. Next year, 17 million. Next year, 24 million. Now you have schools that have close to $40 million rosters. So if we continue to do that.
You see what I'm saying? Your first year you had $2 million to give out because it was the first year of NIL. It was the first year of NIL. Like nobody goes $2 million still alive, and you had top players. Then the next year it grew. Then the next year it grew. Then you retired. So you didn't stop it from growing. You should have said, "No, we don't stick it. We don't stick it 2 million. We don't put a cap on ours. Put a cap on our stuff." So when I go to Congress, I go to they'll know that I'm about what I'm about. I'm gonna put a cap on. I'm not gonna keep going and going with the flow and going with the motion until it's time for me to retire because I can't compete no more. And now I got a problem.
We're going to lose Olympic sports. We're going to lose non-revenue sports. We're going to lose scholarships. And basically what's going to happen is you're going to have football and basketball succeed, and we'll have club sports for everything else with no scholarships. That's horrible. I mean, we can't let that happen. And I think we have to continue to figure out ways that we can raise revenue so that we can keep all sports and all opportunities for all young people intact. I think we have to protect scholarships. We mentioned that. Injury, roster decisions, athletic performance should not be reasons to get rid of a player. But what we've created now with the portal, which we think is a good thing, all the coach has to say to a player that's not very good is get in the portal. I don't want you on the team. So he gets in the portal, and maybe he doesn't get an opportunity. 30% of the people who get in the portal don't get an opportunity. So nobody talks about those things. And it minimizes, because everybody recruits out of the portal, how many young people out of high school get an opportunity to get a scholarship and play college football and start a career.
That's true.
So I think medical protection, injury protection, and health care are something that's really, really important. But I also think that Congress does not need to micromanage college athletics. There's lots of people out there that can help us do that. Congress does need to fix the mess, and the courts create a national framework so people inside college sports can enforce fair rules. Without legal certainty, every rule becomes another lawsuit, every standard becomes another risk, and the system keeps drifting toward the professional model. I believe we want an education-based model that compensates athletes fairly, protects athletes properly, and still preserves development, competition, opportunity, and tradition. That is what this bill is trying to do. It isn't perfect, and I'm sure many, many adjustments need to be made, and I think there's a lot of people who can add to that. But this is a serious bipartisan effort to bring order to a system that is badly needs fixing. I don't think this is bipartisan. I think it should be nonpartisan. It's that important in terms of college athletics, in terms of the future for young people. It protects athletes, it protects opportunity, it protects competitive balance. It protects the sports that do not always generate revenue but still matter. It gives college athletes a chance to move forward with rules that are clear, national, and enforceable. For these reasons, I support the Protect College Sports Act and urge Congress to act. Thank you.
Definitely don't want to see Ted Cruz. Anyway, yeah, in a nutshell, Nick Saban want to put a cap. He want to put a salary cap in place where kids can't, where a team, where say like Ohio State, if I got a $10 million cap, like no school can spend over $10 million. Then Ohio State, who got a $40 million roster, they ain't gonna be able to get a $40 million roster. Even though Ohio State ain't won nothing, but like they got the high roster all the time. They never win anything. You know what I'm saying? So that don't win the biggest thing in college football. Indiana, like they was an older team. Like don't that type of thing wins. But anyway, he want to put a cap on the roster, make it a certain number. He didn't say a number, but we was gonna use whole numbers. It's 10 million. No school can go over 10 million. Every school's on I'm interpreting what he's saying. Every school's on even playing field. So so a team can hoard all the players and create competitive balance. Also, he wants to cut down on the transfer portal, and you gonna transfer one time unless it's like a medical reason or emergency reason, like I don't know, the school burnt down. I don't know what would be the emergency reasons. Medical reasons. I don't know why you would transfer for medical reasons. If you medically something wrong with you medically, you probably can't play anyway. But I don't know. But ultimately, my thoughts are maybe maybe it should be a regulation on it, a salary cap on it. But it's really like for me, it's really like the messenger, not the message. Because like I said earlier, Nick Saban was paying kids on the table. Like I said, you don't get uh Mark Ingram, who else was there? Derrick Henry, and it was two more. You don't get those four running backs on top of Jerry Judy, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, all those four 5-star receivers and running backs that can go anywhere and play. You don't get them without some kind of incentive. It ain't just because I'm going to play Alabama. Like, and a lot of us going to NFL. Yes, a lot of them go to NFL because he was getting all D1 players, all the 5-star players, and he never cared about having four 5-star running backs. Why do you have 4 5-star running backs if you worried about a competitive balance? Every year Alabama's in the championship. or they either losing the championship or they somehow you might have an LSU or somebody sneak in there, or they Auburn beat them at the last second, but they was always in the championship for 15 years because they had all the good players. They had all the good players from all over the country coming to Alabama, and he never cared about it. Nick Saban never cared about it then. So I don't want to hear nothing about competitive balance. If the stuff about the other sports and all that, not getting paid for, I think all the money should trickle down. I think schools should have a pool of however much money, and if they got $40 million budget, if they want to give it 35 of it to the football program, they give 35 of it to the football program. Because if we being real, football programs in every school over the country, except for give or take a few basketball schools, I'm gonna say football and basketball pays for the softball team stuff, travel, softball team coaches' salaries, the tennis team, like football and basketball pays for all that. So it's gonna be hard pressed to convince people to regulate something, bring it down when football made them $1 billion this year. We made $1 billion off football, and you want to tell me I only can spend $10 million on my players or $2 million on my players? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard press, but ultimately it probably get passed because at the end of the day, America do not want to see. America do not want to see these young brothers and sisters getting all this money. All these black brothers and sisters are creating generational type wealth. And yes, you might say, "Oh, he got paid $5 million. That ain't generational wealth." But when you come from nothing and you struggling to eat, you struggling to keep your lights on, you struggling to keep your water on. You got 5 kids, 6 kids sleeping in one room, and that's how you growing up. You can't tell me that ain't generational wealth. That's more wealth than my whole lineage have had. You know what I'm saying? My whole family has never seen $5 million combined. If you take everybody checking my whole family, they ain't seen $5 million combined. So you telling me that I shouldn't have this because you gonna make millions, hundreds of millions of dollars off my back, but it's wrong for me to get this $5 million. It's gonna be, but that's all it is. Like, they don't want to see these. They getting too much money. Like, they just getting too much money for their liking, and they don't like that. So they gonna try to change it. Trump gonna try to change it. Seeing Ted Cruz on there, he the main one. He gonna try to check it. He don't want to see black people do nothing successful. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm disappointed in Nick Saban, because yes, you might have the right intentions, but you got to see it from that point of view of them kids that's getting recruited and where they come from, and what that money will do for him. You know what I'm saying? Some of them could get hurt. They can get hurt. They can first play college football. They can get hurt, but they still have $5 million to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? Their career over. They still got a way to take care of their family. But when you're not in that struggle, you don't come from that, you don't understand. You just can't fathom it that this money is needed for this person. You know what I'm saying? For this family, for these people, for this generation. Like, let these kids get that money. Let these kids run it up. They need to run it up. Y'all making enough money. They not making 1% of the money that's being generated off them. They not. The TV deals are in the billions of dollars, and these kids not making none of that. You know what I'm saying? So, Nick Saban, it is what it is, but you should have just kept this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm gonna say you had good intentions because I don't know you, so I'm gonna say you had good intentions, and all the players that played for you, I haven't heard a bad story with, like, character wise from it. So I'm gonna just take it as a word. You got good intentions, but we gotta do something better than this. You know what I'm saying? We gotta think it through. Like you can keep the football the way it is, and then come up with funds to help everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because football will help itself. Football don't need funds. Football don't need the government or the Senate or anybody, Congress to come in and build an infrastructure and so they can don't have to pay. They got making enough money. Schools making enough money. It's big bank take little bank like, but it's still been even with the NIL the way it is. You haven't seen no. You seen more dynasties, more dominant teams when it wasn't the NIL. Because you know why? Because they were paying people under the table, and that's how they were doing. So they was like sneaking and getting under the table, paying under the table instead of the NIL doing it the legal way. So now legal is even. I think it's an even playing field. People ought to be able to transfer. Like only thing I agree on the only points I agree with him on is the playing the years of eligibility. Nobody should be. You shouldn't be. It shouldn't be your 8th year in college, bro. Come on, gang. It should be your age. You shouldn't be here 8 years. We gotta stop it. Like if you in here, I think they should make a rule right now. If you already played 5 years of college, you gotta go right now. Like the kid from Old Miss he brought up, he shouldn't be able to play. I know, girl. Like why you not going to the NFL? Go to the NFL, bro. If you don't make it, you don't make it. What you doing going back to college for? They need kids out. They need 17, 18 kids is coming up, and you know the transfer portal do hurt the college kids, but it doesn't hurt them in the fact that okay, all the D1 teams are getting transfer portal. It's thousands of other colleges you can go to. Just go to other college. Everybody can have D1 dream, you know what I'm saying? But you can have D1 dream, but everybody ain't gonna fulfill their D1 dream. I ain't gonna tell nobody not to dream. You should dream, but it ain't gonna happen for everybody. It's only so many rosters, you know what I'm saying? It's millions of kids, and it's thousands of roster spots. So it just the math ain't gonna math. But ultimately, next time you gotta chill, man. Like let these kids get this money. Let these kids do what they gonna do. Because at the end of the day, they come from where they come from, and they changing they're changing their family lives, and they're changing their lives. And we gotta let these kids make life changing money. They deserve it. We gotta do it. Like I know America don't want to see a whole bunch of black millionaires running around. They don't want to see it, but it should happen. Like let these kids make this money. Let these kids take care of their family. They're not out here doing anything. Like what they doing? They buying chains, buying cars, flying. Okay, they never had the money before. That's what the people that never had money gonna do. If you give me $10 million right now, I probably go buy a chain. I don't know. Never know. If I ain't never had that money, if you never had that type of money, you can't say I wouldn't do this. I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? I would like to think that I'll be responsible and give back and all those in my mind is what I think I would do. But when I see it, I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like let the kids get paid, let the kids make money, let the kids do what they're gonna do. Cause they're not hurting nobody. They getting paid. I mean, the schools is making millions and millions, way more money off them than they paying them. Coaches making $12, $15 million a year. They don't deserve that. How you gonna deserve? How you deserve to pay? It's like you go to the NFL. The players making $20, $30 million a year, and the coaches making $2, $3 million a year. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be the other way around. In college, they make the coaches making $15 million a year, and the kids making $500,000, $900,000, $1 million. It shouldn't be like that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it should be like it should be reversed. And you shouldn't. The coaches should be making more than players. You got coaches like Coach Prime. He make a lot of money as a coach, but the way he turned that program out, the amount of money he bring in for the program just off of him. Now he's one coach that people go to see. People there because he there. If he left Colorado Day and went to Timbuktu University, Colorado ain't gonna have the same buzz as Timbuktu do. So he's worth that money. But coaches like Nick Saban and all these guys, they great coaches, but they not. People don't come to the games because they're coaching. They come to the game because they're gonna have some great ass players that's gonna put on a show. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the Congress should step in and try to regulate anything. You know, it'll regulate itself. Like I said, like it's not these teams are not dominating. You don't have this one team that's like Ohio State that's got the highest roster and they win it every year. Nobody can beat them. It's not that way. They get beat every year. They lose 1 or 2 or 3 games every year, every season. It doesn't matter. Got Texas Tech. They got a lot of oil money. They like the dogs blew off them. Like like at the end of the day, the game got to be played. The best team gonna win, not the people with the most money. Because that money cannot play for you. That money is not going to run a slant for you. That money not going to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, let the kid make that money, man. Let these brothers and sisters change their lives. That's all they try to do is change their lives. They ain't hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? So, when it come down to it, when it's become a problem, we'll cross that bridge. But right now, it ain't a problem. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to all them. Shout out to everybody making money, man. Keep making that money. You know, get paid, your brother get paid. Shout out to Dog. That's another episode of Coach Don's show. I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.